Firstly, I think this is a very bad idea. This thing. Um, Now, all of you guys know I didn't post any video for the past year because I was facing some content copying issues because I'm not supposed to make audiobooks of books written by somebody else. I'm using their content as mine. I shouldn't be doing that. So I faced a little problem. That's why I wasn't uploading. However, I thought of, instead of making audiobooks, I can make videos like this where I am reading the book as a reader. I hope that's still illegal, but I'm still gonna do it because I love reading and I do it all the time, and maybe I can do it for you people too. And instead of audiobooks, making these videos, I don't know whether or not you people will like it or not, but I'm still gonna do it. If you have any problem, you can complain. I won't do it again. So let's just face this and let's start. Oh, and I have the computer screen behind. I'm reading it from there and recording it my phone. I do not have a camera. Thank you. And thanks to all the people who still stayed even though I didn't upload a thing, and some people actually subscribed while I wasn't uploading anything. Thanks to them especially. And the audio quality isn't that good because I'm using my earphones and there's this fan going up ahead and every sound is coming, so I don't have any noise clearance system in here. So sorry. Chapter 13. Escape of the Gunas. A delighted Shiva embraced Veerbhadra as Sati hugged Kritika. The duo had just entered Shiva's private chamber in the Kashi palace. Veerbhadra and Kritika had had an uneventful journey through Meluha. The reception at the village where the Gunas had been housed had taken them by surprise. There were no soldiers, no alarm, nothing out of the ordinary. Clearly, the Gunas were not being targeted as leverage against the Nilkant. The system driven Maluhas had achieved what their system had conceived, everybody being treated in accordance with the law with no special provisions for any particular people. Didn't you face any trouble? Asked Shiva. None, said Veerbhadra. The tribe lived just like everyone else, in comfortable egalitarianism. We quickly bundled them into a caravan and quietly escaped. We arrived in Kashi a few months later. That means they are not aware as yet of my escape at the Godavari, said Shiva, or else they would have arrested the Gunas. That is the logical conclusion. But it also means that if any Meluhan happens to check the Guna village and finds them missing, they will assume that I'm alive and I'm planning a confrontation. That is also a logical conclusion. But there's nothing we can do about that, can we? No, there isn't, agreed Shiva. Didi, smiled Kali as she embraced her sister. How are you doing, Kali? Asked Sati. I'm tired. My ship had to race down the Chambal and Ganga to catch up with you. Nice to meet you after so many months, Kali, said Shiva. Likewise, said Kali. How was Ujjain? A city that is worthy of Lord Ram, said Shiva. Is it true that some of the Vasudevs have accompanied you here? Yes, including the chief Vasudev himself, Lord Gopal. Kali whistled softly. I was not even aware of the chief Vasudev's name till just the other day, and now it looks like I will be meeting him soon. The scenario must be really grim for him to emerge from his seclusion like this. Change doesn't happen easily, said Shiva. I don't expect the supporters of the Somras to fade into the sunset. The Vasudevs in fact believe the war has already begun, regardless of whether it has been declared or not. That it's just a matter of time before actual hostilities break out, I agree. Is that why my ship was dragged into the Assi River? Asked Kali. I was worried that it might not make it into the harbour. This river is so small that it should actually be called a culvert. That is for the ship's protection, Kali, said Shiva. It was Lord Atithigwa's idea. The Kashi harbour, just like the city, is not protected by any walls. Our enemies may hesitate to attack the city itself due to their faith in Lord Rudra's protective spirit over Kashi, but any ships anchored on the Ganga would be fair game. Hence, the decision to move the ships into the Assi Ghat, which, as you know, flows into the Ganga, said Sati. The channel at the mouth of the river is narrow. Thus, not more than one ship can come through at a time. Our ships therefore can be easily defended. Also, the Assi flows through the city of Kashi. Most Chandravanshis would not want to venture within, believing that the spirit of Lord Rudra would curse them for harming Kashi, even by mistake. Kali raised her eyebrows. Using an enemy's own superstition against him. I like it. Sometimes good tactics can work better than a sword edge, said Shiva, grinning. Ah, said Kali, smiling. You're only saying that because you haven't encountered my sword. Shiva and Sati laughed convivially. Shiva and his core group were in the main hall of the grand Kashi Vishwanath temple. Adithigva had stepped into the inner sanctum along with the main pandit of the temple to offer prasad to the idols of Lord Rudra and Lady Mohini. He returned thereafter with the ritual offerings made to the gods. May Lord Rudra and Lord Mohini bless our enterprise, said Adithigva, offering the prasad to Shiva. Shiva took the prasad with both hands, swallowed it whole, and ran his right hand over his head, thus offering his thanks to the Lord and the Lady for their blessings. Meanwhile, the temple pandit distributed the prasad to everybody else. The ceremonies over, Atithigwa sat down with the group to discuss the strategy for the war ahead. The pandit was led out of the temple by Kashi policemen, and the entrance sealed. No one was to be allowed into the premises for the duration of the meeting. My lord, my people are forbidden any acts of violence except if it is in self-defense, said Adithigwa. So we cannot join the campaign actively with you, but all the resources of my kingdom are at your command. Shiva smiled. The peace-loving Kashi people would in any case not really make good soldiers. He had no intention of leading them into battle. I know, King Adithigva. I would not ask anything of your people that they would be honor bound to refuse. But you must be able to defend Kashi if attacked, for we intend to house many of our war resources here. We will defend it to our last breath, my lord, said Adithigva. Shiva nodded. He did not really expect the Chandravanshis to attack Kashi. He turned towards Gopal. Panditji, there are many things that we need to discuss. To begin with, how do we keep the Chandravanshis out of the war theatre in Meluha? Secondly, what strategy should we adopt with Meluha? I think what Lord Kartik and Gopal suggested is an excellent idea. Let us hope we can rope in Magad to our side, said Gopal. Easier said than done, said Kali. Surapadman would be compelled by his father to seek vengeance for his stupid brother Agrasen, and I don't propose handing over Ganesh for what was in fact a just execution. So what are you suggesting, Kali? Asked Sati. Well, I am suggesting that we either fight Magad right away or we tell them that we will investigate and hand over the Naga culprit as soon as we lay our hands on him. Sati instinctively held Ganesha's hand protectively. Kali laughed softly. Didi, all I'm suggesting is that we make Surapadman think that we are going to hand him over. That way, we can buy some time and attack Ayodhya. Are you saying that we lie to the Magadhans, Your Highness? Asked Gopal. Kali frowned at Gopal. All I'm saying is we be economical with the truth, great Vasudev. The future of India is at stake. There are many who are counting on us. There are many who are counting on us. If we have to taint our souls with a sin for the sake of greater good, then so be it. I will not lie, said Shiva. This is a war against evil. We are on the side of good. Our fight must reflect that. Baba, said Ganesh, you know I would agree with you under normal circumstances. But do you think the other side has maintained the standards you're espousing? Wasn't the attack on us at Panchavati an act of pure deception and subterfuge? I don't believe it is wrong to attack an unprepared enemy. Yes, their using Daivi Astras can be considered questionable. Even so, two wrongs don't make a right. I will not lie to win this war. We will win in the right way. Karthik remained silent. Whereas he agreed with the pragmatism of Ganesha's words, he was inspired by the moral clarity in Shiva's. Gopal smiled at Shiva. Satyam vada, asatyam mavada. What? Asked Shiva. Kali spoke up. It's old Sanskrit. Speak the truth, never speak the untruth. Sati smiled. I agree. Well, I know some old Sanskrit too, said Kali. Satyam bruat priyam bruat, na bruat satyam apriyam. Shiva raised his hand in dismay. Can we cut out the old Sanskrit one-upmanship? I don't follow what you people are saying. Gopal translated for Shiva. What Queen Kali said means, speak the truth in a pleasing moment, but never speak the truth which is unpleasant to others. It's not my line, said Kali, turning to Shiva. It can be attributed to a sage of yore, I'm sure, but I think it makes sense. We don't have to reveal to Surapadman that we know who his brother's killer is. All we need to motivate him to do is to wait till after we have attacked Ayodhya before choosing his friends and his enemies. His ambition will guide him in the direction that we desire. The walls of Ayodhya are impregnable, warned Gopal, drawing attention to another factor. We might be able to bog them down, but we won't be able to destroy the city. I know, said Ganesh, but our aim is not to destroy Ayodhya. It is to ensure that their navy is unable to sail their forces over to Meluha. Our main battle will be in Meluha. But what if Surapadman attacks from the rear after we have laid siege on Ayodhya? Asked Gopal. Caught between Ayodhya in front of us and Surapadman behind us, we could get destroyed. Actually, no, said Ganesh. Surapadman attacking us from behind would make things easier for us. It's when he moves out of Magad that we will make our move. Shiva, Karthik, and Sati smiled. They understood the plan. Brilliant, exclaimed Parshuram. The rest turned to Parshuram for a whispered explanation on the side. You don't have to lie, continued Kali to Shiva. Refrain from telling Surapadman the entire truth, except for those portions which will make him pause. Let his ambition play out the rest. We require him to allow our ships to pass through the confluence of the Sarayu and Ganga towards Ayodhya. Once that is done, we will achieve our objective one way or the other, either by holding Ayodhya or by destroying the Magadhan army. Shiva's brief nod acknowledged his assent. But what about Meluha? Should we launch a frontal attack with all our might? Or should we adopt diversory tactics to distract their armies while a small group searches for the secret Somras facility and destroy it? Our Branga and Vaishali forces will battle in Magad and Ayodhya, leaving the Vasudevs and the Naga armies for the Meluhan campaign, said Sati. So we will have much smaller forces in Meluha. Of course, they will be exceptionally well trained and will have superb technological skills, like the fire spewing elephant corps that the Vasudevs have developed recently. But we have to respect the Meluhan forces. They are equally well trained and technologically adept. So, are you suggesting that we avoid a direct attack? Said Shiva. Yes, said Sati. Our main aim has to be to destroy the Somras manufacturing facility. It will take them years to rebuild it. That much time is more than enough for our words to prevail against the people. The average Meluhan is devoted to the legend of the Nilkant. The Somras will die in natural death. But if we attack directly, the war with Meluha will drag on for a long time. The more it drags on, the more innocent people will die. Also, the Meluhans will begin to look upon the war as an attack on their beloved country and not the Somras. I am sure there will be a large number of Meluhans who would be willing to turn against the Somras, but if we challenge their patriotism, then we have no choice of winning. Kali was smiling. What? Asked Sati. I noticed that you said they instead of we when you referred to the Meluhans, said Kali. Sati seemed perplexed. She still believed Meluha was her own land. Um, that's unimportant. It's still my country. Sure it is, smiled Kali. Gopal cut in. Just for the sake of argument, let us imagine what would happen if there is a direct all-out war. That is something we will have to avoid, said Shiva. I see sense in what Sati is saying. Nevertheless, let us consider what Lord Vrigu and Daksha might think, said Gopal. I agree. It is in our interest to not have a direct war, but it is their interest to have one, and a destructive one at that. They will want tensions to escalate so that they can confuse the people. They will then say that the Nilkant has betrayed Meluha. Like Lady Sati just pointed out, the patriotism of the Meluhans could drown out their faith in the Nilkant. I agree that Lord Vrigu may want to escalate the situation, said Shiva. What I do not understand is how he will manage it once it has. I have seen the Meluhan army from up close. It's a centralized, well-drilled unit. But the problem with such armies is their utter dependence on a good commander. Their General Parvateshwar is with us. Trust me, they do not have another man like him. If Lord Vrigu is as intelligent as you say he is, he would know that too. Ganesh and Karthik sighed at the same time. Shiva glared at his sons. Baba, said Karthik. Damn it, screamed Shiva. You will not doubt his loyalty, am I clear? Ganesh and Karthik bowed their heads. Their mouths pursed mutinously. Am I clear? Asked Shiva once again. Kali frowned at Shiva before looking at Ganesh and Karthik, but remained silent. Shiva turned back to Gopal. We have to avoid provocation. Our military formations have to be solidly defensive so as to deter them from staging an open confrontation. The main task for our army is to keep them distracted so that a smaller unit can search the towns on the Saraswati for signs of the Somraj manufacturing facility. Once we succeed in destroying that facility, we will win the war. Nandi, said Sati, turning to the Meluhan major. Nandi immediately laid out a map of Meluha. Everyone peered at it. Look,
said Sati. The Saraswati ends in an inland delta. The Maluhans will not be able to get their massive fleet from Karachapa into the Saraswati. The defensive doctrine covers just two possible threats: a naval attack via the Indus or a land based army attack from the east. That is why they don't have a massive fleet on the Saraswati. Shiva grasped what Sati was alluding to. They are unprepared for a naval attack on the Saraswati. You have to understand that this is with good reason. They assumed that no enemy ship could enter the Saraswati. No enemy controlled rivers flow into it, and the Saraswati does not open to the sea. But isn't that just the problem? Asked the confused Aditya. How will we get ships into the Saraswati? We won't, said Shiva. We will capture the Meluhan ships stationed in the Saraswati instead. Kali nodded. That is the last thing they would expect, which is the reason why it will work. Yes, said Sati. All we have to do is capture Mritikavati, which is where most of the Saraswati command of Meluhan Navy is stationed. Once we are in possession of those ships, we will control the Saraswati. We can quickly sail up unchallenged, even as we continue our search for the Somras manufacturing facility. That's correct, said Brahashpati. The manufacturing facility can only be on the banks of the Saraswati. It cannot be possibly anywhere. This sounds like a good plan, said Gopal. But how do we capture their ships? Where do we enter their territory from? Mritikavati is not a border town. We will have to march in with an army, and we will obviously face resistance from the border towns that falls on the way. Lothal. Lothal? Asked Kartik. Lothal is the port of Maika, said Gopal. They are practically twin cities. Maika is where the Meluhan children are born and raised, while Lothal is the local army base. Don't worry about Maika or Lothal, said Kali. They will be on our side. Gopal, Shiva, and Sati seemed genuinely surprised. If there are any Meluhans who will have sympathy for us, it will be the people of Maika, continued Kali. They have seen the Naga children suffer. They have tried to help us on many occasions, even breaking their own laws in the process. The present governor of Maika, Chinnardhwaj, is also the administrator of Lothal. He was transferred from Kashmir a few years back. He is loyal to the institution of Nilkant. Furthermore, I have saved his life once. Trust me, both Maika and Lothal will be with us when hostilities break out. I remember Chinnardhwaj, said Shiva. All right then, we will utilize the support of Lothal to conquer Mritikavati. Then we will use their ships to search the towns on the Saraswati. But remember, we must try and avoid a direct clash.